We never said we were a feminist podcast.
We are a feminist podcast.
No, we never said it.
Hi guys, welcome back to Moment of Silence Pod. I'm Sakshi Shivdasani.
I'm Nana Bhan.
And we have realized after our blood, sweat and tears, there is a bigger audience now.
Yeah.
Who some are not subscribed. So why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our podcast first? And why don't you reintroduce yourself, Naina, to our audience?
Oh my god. Okay. Hi Sharks. My name is Naina Bhan and I am originally from Delhi and now I moved to Mumbai. I have worn many hats and my most successful one to date is a podcaster. And we co-run Moment of Silence podcast. It used to be a girls ranty shitting podcast about dating and relationships, and now it's whatever it wants to be.
And Naina is selling herself short because she's also an intimacy coordinator for All We Imagine as Light, which won at Cannes Film Festival. She's also a main character in a show called Class Season 1. She's also, if you've ever watched IPL, you have seen this beautiful face in the PhonePe ads. And obviously, podcast also.
And podcast also.
Yeah.
4-time award-winning podcast.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
Over to you, Sakshi.
Well, I'm Sakshi Shivdasani and I am a content creator turned podcaster, which is also content.
Diversifying the portfolio.
Ooh. Yeah.
And
What else?
so many other things.
Name one.
Let's start. Sakshi began her journey on Supermodel of the Year as,
As a supermodel.
as a supermodel, and then she went on to becoming one of the tastemakers and biggest content creators
So
on
content.
yeah. But 1 second, Sakshi was also like spotlighted by every major platform there is. She got early access to Reels. She's like the hottest thing on YouTube. Everybody wants to be with Sakshi. Everybody else wants to be Sakshi. And apart from that, she's an avid reader and a dog mom. And
This
currently,
is like padding my portfolio. It's okay. I
And-
like being a content creator and a podcaster.
1 second. We did not talk about her invisible waist and her juicy
My
ass.
fat ass. Well, that is our introduction. But we realize that our audience sometimes asks us questions that we have been blissfully ignoring. Not anymore. Today, we are going to answer your pressing questions on issues such as global warming and women's education. Us and Malala. Same category.
We needed some help
A
because
Cosmo Award, a Nobel Peace Prize, same thing. We're going to start with questions about us, which is in this cute little wine glass. And then we're going to go to questions you'll have about yourselves.
and I have some questions in the middle.
Okay.
I also have.
I also have.
Wow.
Fuck it.
Crazy.
I don't have any questions. Ooh, 3 things you love and hate about each other.
ये तो बहुत simple question है.
I love how hardworking Naina is. I love how funny Naina is. And I love how driven she is in her people skills.
I love how funny Sakshi is. I love how what a generous heart she has, and I love her sense of self and boundary creation. And I have to say that I was thinking about it today. I was like, this relationship that we have is like, it is a marriage.
It is a
and
marriage.
it is everything that I think a marriage is and would look like.
Especially her dick game.
And and basically, I mean, I've done it once before. I've tried. I can't say I've done it, but I realized that, I realized through this how much two people need to be in constant communication, working towards a bigger goal that's bigger than themselves, like actively trying to, I guess, adjust to each other and like also evolving together.
And taking feedback not personally.
Yes.
I feel like it's so much easier said than done, but like in our, like, because we are also friends and we run a business together, it's easier to be like, okay, this is just how things work and not take it personally. But I feel like if a partner gave me feedback like this, I would be like, oh, since you're so perfect, why don't you go fuck yourself? Like, you know? But
Yeah.
I feel like it's, I think this is the most healthy, functioning relationship of my life.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Same. And it's not easy.
It's not easy.
Sakshi's definitely made it a lot more efficient and easier. I think it was nice that we didn't start off as friends. We didn't start off as friends.
Yeah.
We started on this podcast.
And now we're friends.
And now we're friends. And every time like I want to share more with you, I sometimes I stop myself. I'm like, what if we become so tethered that we can't be like super honest with each other, because so much of our life is like
in each other's ass.
yeah
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, but no, I feel like I'm very comfortable sharing things with you. I think it's I think it's like what marriage is.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to report that I enjoy this marriage.
I also enjoy this marriage.
And it wouldn't have been this successful if Sakshi wasn't a fuckboy.
Truly. Yeah.
She doesn't chase, she attracts, and I'm
Naina
a hungry
also
dog.
Just shut up.
And she is the juiciest
Then,
bone.
let me tell you what I hate. Firstly, Naina doesn't give herself credit for the amount of work she does.
I do.
Secondly, she does a lot of work. And sometimes it's like, do we need a call for this? And the answer is somehow always yes. We do need a call for this.
We need more than one call. That call should have been a meeting. It should have been in person across the table. So yes, we always need a call.
Yeah.
I'm
more of a vibes kind of gal. But no, I've been on the calls. I've been running the calls sometimes, which is a great responsibility.
to watch
One
your
time.
journey from talent to businesswoman, from front end to back end.
Disgusting.
Too good. Really
You
good.
have
I'm
to
very
say
proud
something you
of you.
hate now.
Oh,
Please. I know.
sure.
Yeah.
Sakshi's inability to respond in current time, let things pass for days, and then be like, wait, what the fuck? I'm just catching up on this right now. What's going on? And why was this on the edit?
Just to be fair, I feel like, you know, when there's too many messages, there's zero messages. I'm very much like a man in that aspect. It's like yesterday I was trying to get a massage, yes, in the middle of the work day. And my phone kept going off and I was like, I just need to D&D this shit.
You know, my heart broke recently, just a little bit, and I'll tell you on the podcast.
Please.
And this might be the last episode we do. We were having a meeting on a normal work day. It's like a Thursday. And I wanted Sakshi to check on something. So I called her to ask for her to like follow up on something. And she was at brunch.
On
And
a
she
Thursday.
responded once. And then she was brunching.
Oh yeah, I
And
was with
like,
Ariana.
and I was like, it's a marriage.
It's a marriage.
It takes work.
Everyone has flaws.
I love her.
3 things. We don't need to say 3 things we hate about each other.
Oh, it was on the thing? I thought you were making it spicy.
No, it was on the thing. What's the most non-feminist thought you've had and low-key believe it too?
I think all my thoughts have inherently started as like super oriented to the male gaze, to the male perspective, etc., etc. I've centered men my whole life, and every day is a humbling experience to move away from that. And I'm on that journey, and this podcast has definitely helped in that regard. And what is one that I still think about? I hold women to higher standards than I do men.
Yeah, I also hold women to higher standards than I hold men. But the genuine most non-feminist thought I've had is women are just bad drivers. And that is because I'm a horrible driver and all my friends are horrible drivers. But we make it to point A and point B. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, we can all drive. If it was an Uber, would we get a 5-star rating? No. But you make it safe to point A and point B. If you have back issues, maybe don't sit in my car. But I'm like, why not outsource these boring jobs to men?
Firstly, driving. Anything that you are good at, you have to be interested in.
Exactly.
If you're not interested in, regardless of your gender, you're not the best at
Yeah.
it. I think I treat a car as a suitcase on wheels.
Agreed.
I think it's a hotel. How it moves from one place to the other is not my business.
I fully agree. And
Especially when I'm behind the wheel. It's not my business.
I fully agree, and I feel like if women wanted to make driving their entire personality, they would be amazing drivers. It's just that we have things to do, we have places to be, we have all of this to do. Okay, what is your biggest insecurity before shooting an episode?
That my hair sucks and that I won't be able to say anything and I'll be really underprepared. I have so many.
Really?
Yeah.
I just have like sometimes I keep my back straight like this, but I don't keep it like this, so then I look really frumpy. I did a
It's tough.
full demo.
It's tough for women in podcasts.
Yeah, I've never had an insecurity about anything that I'm saying.
Yeah.
know, because-
Initially I did.
Yeah.
Initially I was a real pain in the ass.
No, I just feel like anything is like a practice thing. If you do anything, and I'm a firm believer of this, if you do it enough times, you become a pro at it.
Yeah.
Which is what is happening with podcasting as well. The first batch of episodes, I've said it before, I'll say it again, gives me an aneurysm to think about. And now it's like we can just keep talking even with a chest infection that's lasted 3 weeks.
Yeah. When you think you've been guarding this piece of information with your life and you're like, this is my deepest, darkest secret and what will people say, and we are in a very cancelable society, so you're always stressed about what you're putting out there. But the best part about living in a country with 1.6 plus billion people is that you're really irrelevant. Like, it doesn't matter how much you scale, you could have millions of followers, you're still irrelevant.
Bro.
So no one, I mean, at one point, yeah, people pick up things according to season and trend, but at the same time, like, you're watching so much and consuming so much that I could tell you my life's biggest suffering, and it would be a digestible thing that you would eat
Yeah.
a packet of chips to,
Yeah.
and it would be the
Ha, sponsor for no guys.
no sponsor. I just really love.
Turn it around.
I just really love oily chips. Fuck you.
But yeah, I think my other insecurity, I think the thing with being discovered by new audiences, I know what the feedback is going to be about the way I talk about like all of that. But so now I'm kind of expecting that, so I won't call it an insecurity. But I will say sometimes I do talk about how I'm perceived with my therapist, so I'm assuming that's an insecurity. Where
Fair.
I'm like, but I've discovered a non-podcast insecurity, and it's damn dark. So
you want to share? Sorry.
yeah,
Like-
my biggest insecurity as of this moment is that I'm gonna meet a guy and he's gonna be like, I need to show this bitch her place because she's been talking too much shit on the internet. And then he's gonna marry me, and then he's gonna knock me up, and then he's gonna leave because that was his plan all along.
Okay. God forbid that never happened.
God forbid.
But if in some weird twisted reality it were to happen, you have all of us.
No, 100%. And but it's gotten to the point that I don't trust people's intentions because I'm thinking about worst case scenario. It's also that like, oh, maybe they just have bad intentions when they talk to me. So I'm always like, I go on a date or something, I go with like I'll show him.
Honestly, which is fair, because like people are genuinely nicer to you because they feel like they get a bit of street cred.
Yeah.
So it might not be like malintent or anything like that, but it is something that's a little phony. Like, I can see the way people's energies change when they talk to you. I know
Yeah.
they're trying to like put their best foot forward and like be like, hey Sakshi, pick me, you know. So I
Yeah.
can understand.
And men. You know me, I'm my biggest fear.
But on the other side, you know, I've been like talking about this, which is that I think my one big problem in life with relationships especially is that I'm always testing the person.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like a female thing or if it's a me thing, but I'm constantly subconsciously and unconsciously testing someone to see is this going to make them go? Is
Yeah.
this going to make them stop doing something? Is this going to be the point when they don't show up for me? And if they don't show up for me the way that I want them to, I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. This is the evil plan all along. Conspiracy.
Yeah.
Everyone hates me. And I
It's
think,
also like, oh, he'll never be able to give me what I want. And it's like, every woman I know is like, if he doesn't do this by July,
yeah.
it's over for me. And the guy has no idea.
And how are men living in a world where they're not testing a relationship? And okay, you can say, oh, whatever, we can have this whole
Yeah.
men versus women argument, but there is something to the fact that if you constantly test a relationship, and it could be your love relationship, it could be like your parents, your family, anyone, it has the opposite reaction to if you actually try and nourish that relationship.
Yeah. You like the orange peel theory, do you know?
Remind me again.
So it's a TikTok trend where it's like you ask someone you're dating to do a menial task for you, like peel an orange, tie your shoelaces. And if they refuse to do that, it means something bigger. Like, oh, they can't even do this small task for someone they love. But the thing is, I know if someone asked me to peel an orange, I would tell them to fuck off. Like, so I'm like, how can. But I would be very offended if a guy I'm dating was like, no. I'd be like, how can you do this? You've basically broken my heart.
But I'm not into that. 'Cause-
I'm also not into
yeah.
it, but I would do the test just to feel bad.
But isn't that sucks, right? Because
Yeah.
then you're tuning your brain to believing a full conspiracy that you've come up with in
Yeah.
your mind that this person doesn't want your best intentions.
Yeah.
It's not a great way to
It's
live.
not a great way to live, but I feel like I chase a rejection.
Same.
Like I feel like I'm waiting कि अब नहीं करेगा, अब नहीं करेगा.
Same.
And I'm तो doing it with random strangers. I'm not even in
I'm
a
even-
relationship.
I would do it with you also. Like now, I really like. It's one of those things that like in therapy, I have tried over time to get over. My first instinct is to be suspicious of everyone's intentions. Be like,
Yeah.
oh, no one actually enjoys my company. You know?
Yeah.
So, are they just like hanging out with me because there's work that we're doing together, or is it because they genuinely want to hang out with me? So it's like a constant loop in my head, and that makes you like the biggest loser in the room.
Yeah, but I'm very secure in my friendships. Like I'm like when I'm hitting you up or anything, I don't care about triple texting, 4 times texting. But with like a guy I'm seeing, I'm very like
Cut.
something
Yeah.
is off. Like I'm like a jasoos.
But what I realized was, I don't think I'm meant for world today, especially dating world today.
Born in a wrong generation.
No, I'm holding on to my generation very hard. I realized everybody that I know, everybody that I've met romantically has been someone that's I've met offline. I know I have some background and history too. I would know their friends, I would know their families in some distance, and I feel a lot of safety in that. And say when I listen to like my sister dating abroad and her friends, and I'm like, you're meeting an absolute stranger. You don't know what their any history or any past, present, anything about their lives, and I over time have found that thought to be so scary, and it's a thought that I'd never had to deal with because I was in like a really long relationship with somebody
Yeah.
I'd known since I was in like school.
Yeah.
And now the thought of meeting someone like a stranger or meeting someone online or anything like that mortifies me.
Fair enough. I would say that my logic with online dating is that the world is so large, there's no way the love of my life is just an acquaintance of mine. Like, what are the odds? And like, if someone is putting in their interests and all of that, and we're seeing compatibility. Now, I mean, I'm not like I'm on and off Hinge. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a whole thing, and it's not designed to be deleted. It's designed to kill your self-esteem sometimes, because it's like, oh, you're most compatible with, and it's like someone you would not want to be compatible with,
Yeah, fair.
for lack of a better term. So I think I've been thinking a lot about like marriage and relationships in the last couple of months, just because of my parents and all of that. And that's why, like, the whole, like, I don't think anyone has good intentions while they're meeting me, and they all just want bragging rights or something. I'm in my head about it, obviously, but it is an insecurity that I have, like, that they're secretly recording me while they're in bed with me or something. I'm living life like I'm on Big Boss is my insecurity. Like the Truman Show, everyone's like, oh haha, she is horrible in bed, haha, she thinks, I don't know, I just feel like I'm being watched all the time.
Which you are. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you to some extent. Like that is a very real fear if
Yeah.
you're a public personality, especially in your bubble of Mumbai. Maybe if
Fair.
you're in like a different city that wasn't yours, where
I've
you
tried.
haven't. Do you think people come into your life like as destiny or as lessons, or do you think it's all very random?
I think it's all very random, and I think you are fully in charge of what happens in your life. I think every decision you make, you know subconsciously or consciously if it's a dumb decision or no. I think every place you go, everything you do, I don't think things just fall into your lap. I think you have to be like if you're in a toxic relationship and you keep going back, I think that's intentional. If you're going on a date with someone you're not attracted to, it's not going to change once you go on the date. Like, I think if you're going for an event that you are not vibing, you're not going to vibe. Like, I don't think things just happen.
I think things just happen.
Really?
Yeah, I think people are meant to come into your life at least with people, and opportunities like are meant to come into your life at this one specific point. And I can see it in my life, like even with this job. I've loved podcasts my whole life. I've loved film my whole life, but it never worked out until I'd completely given up on an idea of doing it. And then the way it worked out was so destined. You like I've followed you since the pandemic, and I've watched you sometimes actively, unactively, and I was like, oh, fun girl. But in my gut, I was like, the minute the idea of a podcast, I was like, who?
Yeah.
I don't know why. There was just like this call in my gut. I was like,
Interesting.
Sakshi would be the person.
Oh, for me, it was like I tried making content 4 times, and then I just knew that I had to lock in. I had to make reels every day, and that's how I would become a creator. Immediately got results. Even with like losing weight or something, I was like, I need to lock in. It has to happen. Even with the podcast, I was like, okay, I need to do something new. This opportunity has fallen into my lap, and I have met Naina, and she has done this. And if I say no right now, then it's not going to happen because it's in my hands. So for me, that is the logic. And I think it also translates to relationships. Like if I don't go out on 2 dates a month, I'm not going to find the love of my life, because I'm also a very closed off person. So unless I'm meeting someone off a dating app, I'm not going to flirt. I'm not going to do all of that. I'm not going to say yes to a date. Like, because it's just not, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, it's so once I'm on a dating app, I know the intention. Once I'm at a work meeting, I know the intention. Like, I know I have to network for 20 minutes and then I can fuck off. So it's very intentional.
So you don't romanticize life at all.
No.
I say that, like say even with my current partner,
Yeah.
we've lived like one road away our entire lives. I've known his brother like since I was in school. I've hung out with him through the years. Never met Moses. Never met him. Like there was no chance where our paths crossed or there was even a conversation. And then suddenly like this person who's been
Yeah.
you
Just
know,
out of
there,
reach,
like
yeah.
literally like a 5-minute walk is suddenly such a huge part of your life, and I'm like, there has to be something to it.
Yeah.
We did this very weird, very like time pass thing the other day. Aaron was over and we were just killing time, and we were sitting on
Aaron is Moses' brother, also a
who is
content
the
creator.
funniest content creator. He's
I'm
so
sitting
funny.
right here.
Yeah. Male. Funniest male. But we filled AI with our like birth time, birth place, and our entire details. And then we started asking AI questions. And then one of the questions that we were like, to asking about our past lives, okay?
Yeah.
And we were asking about who we were in a past life. And the whole thing is like, in this life, the theory is that in this life, you are trying to fix your previous life's karma. So you're talking about those previous lives. And you're like, have we ever met in a previous life? And it turned out that I was like some kind of witch or something.
Of course.
Of course. Hence podcast. Aaron was some kind of like it's like Sufi saint, like
Of
of course. And then there was one more person there, and then
Moses?
we fed his data anyway for fun. He was not there. But the funny thing was, it said that Moses has been in all of our lives in a past life, and whether it's as a friend or a brother, but he has intertwined in all of our lives.
Interesting.
It
Do
was
you think
so-
he was your brother in your previous life?
I'll take it. I feel the bond for sure.
I love that. I
Yeah.
asked ChatGPT last night to do a compatibility quiz with like a date that I've been seeing for a bit.
Yeah.
And it was like, are your love languages in sync? And there were 3 options, which was like, yeah, fully. And the second was like, I mean, we try our best to like accommodate each other. And the third was like, not really, but we make out to compensate. And both of us quietly ticked C. And that's where my life is right now. And I just have to say, the people stealing our data are loving this.
Enjoy.
Next question.
Next question.
Ooh, what's a lie you've told a man and never regretted it? I came.
That was good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Simple.
best sex of my life.
I've never said that.
I'll say it when it happens. On my deathbed to my kids, I'll be like, that one time. You need to have all the time out of the way.
You know what's like when our grandmothers and our mothers were talking to us about their lives, like they had no digital footprint, right? So it was
Yeah.
like full mystery, and when you find out about like juicy things from their life, it would be so interesting. And our entire lives are on the internet. So
Yeah.
when our kid looks back, there's nothing.
I don't want my kid to look at my content.
Look. I have been actively trying to dumb myself down. I'm trying.
Why?
Like in conversations with strangers, men who I'm like working with, because it's just easier for because then they go and do the things that they
Yeah.
are supposed to do, not even anything more than that.
Yeah.
But when you seem like you're in control, then no one wants to help you.
That's so fair. I've realized I tried to be dumb, but no one believes me. Like,
Yeah.
no one feels bad for me. No one believes me. And I'm like, I really want people to feel bad for me. But now I just have to do it myself. Or if I level with a person, then they'll do it. But if I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do it, no one wants to help me.
Same.
Very sad. That day I had to put my own bags in my Uber and I was very upset about it.
What about the independent woman loneliness epidemic?
There's no independent woman loneliness epidemic. You have a friend over every night. What
But
do you
I'm
mean?
lonely.
Why are you
I'm
lonely? You have a partner, you have friends, you have family. How can you be lonely? We all of us banded together, like 5 of us, and we made slime and paintings on Sunday, and it was only the best time. And there were like 15 beers consumed, and it was the time of my life. Honestly, how can you say you're lonely? I'm offended.
Maybe I'm just greedy now.
You're yearning.
I'm yearning. I'm greedy. I need like constant hanging.
You have constant hanging.
I need
sweetie.
more. I need people around when I'm sleeping.
Do you want us to come spoon you turn by turn every night?
Yeah.
Bro, can we talk about cuddling as a concept?
I hate it.
Where does my hand go?
It
Like,
doesn't go
men are easy, okay? They like put one hand under you. They'll put like, they just have all their limbs. But then when I'm cuddling with someone, one hand is constantly like this.
My yearning
I don't like it.
is to be the little spoon. Never been the little spoon.
You've never been the little spoon.
It never works out. I think I have too much control issue.
Can't be held. You feel like you're in a straight jacket.
Yeah, I do. I swear, anytime someone holds me from the back, I feel like I have to jump out of a plane. Like,
No,
I hate it.
I feel like everyone I date wants to be little spoon, and I'm like, no. And then every time I'm big spoon, I just keep I neck them in their ear. It's like, oh yeah, you like this? Like, you like being the little spoon, huh? And then they're like, okay, just turn around.
I think this all started when I was younger and I was fat. And my parents would wake me up before we had to go to the house because they couldn't carry me up the stairs. And my sister would get carried.
Your sister's 5 years younger than
But
you,
she-
no shit.
But
She got carried till she was 16. Wake up.
he literally.
No, I was. So, it's like when I'm having a late night, and this is just a horrible thing to admit, but my dog wakes me up at 7:30, and I don't want him to wake me up. So sometimes when I'm having a late night, I keep going in my room every 5 minutes and shaking him out. It buys me 1 hour of sleep.
I've never done a trust fall. Just, it's the weight issue.
I've also never done a trust fall.
Like, I don't have the self belief that if I fall back, someone will catch me.
Bro, honestly, not unrealistic because I just feel like, that day as a joke, I was asking this guy, it's like, I bet you can't carry me. And he was like, yeah,
You know,
just shoot me in the face.
fuck off, firstly. Secondly, when a guy, and I know you've had this experience because we're similar dimensions. When a guy says, yes, I can carry you, and then they pick you up, but you say,
How dare you?
how dare you?
Just say no. Just say you're weak. And then one of the most romantic questions I pulled out in bed was, if you were a girl and we got into a bar fight, who do you think would win if you were equivalent strength? And there's only one correct answer, and that answer is
You.
me. I would win. Because obviously if you can't carry me, you're not the strongest man in the world.
Yeah.
Would Dwayne The Rock Johnson hesitate? Would John Abraham hesitate?
Oh my
Yeah.
god. That's why I have like big crushes on these like huge, like hefty,
Local woman discovers muscles are hot.
like I love Dwayne the Rock Johnson,
Yeah.
and I love that guy, that Jason Momoa. Like, I don't even find them attractive, but I just feel so safe because I know if they pick me up, they wouldn't make that sound.
Yeah. That sound is
Is
the
that what
worst.
love
sound.
is?
Just don't grunt. That's why when you're in the gym and some person's doing like bicep curls and they're like, "Huh," it's
Yeah.
like, no, you're not the guy for me. I know that much. Quiet. Next question.
Yeah.
What's the most toxic thing you've done in a relationship?
Pay me the money. I'll write the whole book.
I've done a few
Fair few.
things. Yeah. It's like I don't like people that nap. So anytime anyone naps, they wake up and I'm in a bad mood.
That can't be the most toxic thing.
I
you
would
did.
just kill their vibe. So they would be sleepy and then they wouldn't want to sleep because they knew it would kill my vibe.
Yeah, I think when actually, when a guy is really happy and you're not happy,
It's the worst feeling in the world.
you just want to change the vibe.
Fuck
so
their day,
hard.
bro.
Yeah.
Just start some random argument. But if that's toxic, lock
Yeah.
me up. Next episode, I'm in a straight jacket.
I don't think anyone's in a truly healthy relationship. It's like mental health. Everyone has a varying amount of some.
I was going to say, I don't think anyone's in a
Issue.
toxic relationship. Sabka alag-alag normal hota hai.
And sometimes I agree with you before your sentence. ends,
Within
and
a
then my eye
healthy
twitches.
setup, I'm saying like,
Yeah.
no, like, I'm not talking about like, I'm talking about in a healthy relationship,
Yeah.
everyone's a little toxic and it's fine. Like, if saying I'll slap you is not toxic.
Depending on the gender.
Depending on the gender. You're so right. And I'm fully joking about that. It's toxic. Next question. Ooh, Naina.
Huh.
While acting, you've had to make out with people on set. Genuine question. How did you deal with it if it turns you on and does it?
I can attest to it is the worst feeling. Like kissing somebody on camera is the worst feeling. One, and I've said this a bunch of times, because the lights are on, you're in studio lights, both your bodies are really like sweating and garam.
Yeah.
Okay, and then like natural attraction is like you want to kiss someone or you want to lean into, like, but camera kissing is like action, and then you're like, like no, we can't see her face. Move the hair. No, hold his back, hold him like this, and there is nothing nice about that.
You also said it's like 3 beats to the left, 2
Yeah,
beats to the
there's
right.
it's so mechanized. It's so gross. If somebody, I would be surprised if somebody was like turned on by kissing on camera. It's gross.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you deal with it if it turns you off?
If it turns you off, which it has, actually, I don't want to like throw around the word PTSD
Yeah,
loosely, but I was mortified. Like, I was mortified to the point that I went and certified as an intimacy
Yeah.
coordinator, even though there was a coordinator on set, because it is such an intimate thing that you're doing for the camera and you're
Yeah.
getting paid for it. And in some other professions, it feels like something different.
So fair.
Yeah, so you constantly have this like existential crisis of like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And also, like, you're starting your career off for the first time, and you know that again, it's like a weird power dynamic where you need this job to
Yeah.
get to the next thing, to start your own podcast. So,
Not so fun fact, but Anora did not have an intimacy coordinator.
yeah.
Which is quite.
And even Game of Thrones in the.
Yeah. Quite fucked, don't you think?
100%.
And that's why I think, like, because I was like watching it and I was like, oh my god, the intimacy coordinator did a great job. And there was
Yeah.
no intimacy coordinator. Yeah, fucked.
Scary.
Yeah.
Would you ever kiss someone on camera?
I wouldn't kiss someone off camera. But no, I wouldn't. I would be very conscious.
Yeah.
But, I mean, depends. I don't know. No one's asked me. I just feel like no one would want to watch that. I know my limits in society.
But I agree. Like, I feel like there are sometimes when the intimacy is for the plot, and I
Yeah.
love those pieces or films or whatever. And then there's intimacy just to titillate, and it's so gross and unwatchable.
Yeah, I missed the time where two flowers would come together and
Yeah.
look.
Me too.
Yeah.
Anyway, now I'm a podcaster, and that life is behind me.
I mean, you're still an intimacy coordinator. And hire Naina.
Hire me, yeah.
Sakshi's biggest regrets or learnings post breakup. Things you do differently. Well,
I believe Sakshi did nothing wrong.
I don't think either. So the thing with breaking up with genuinely nice people who are just not in the same place at the same time is that it's hard to hold grudges. I do think that I could have been more assertive about what was bothering me because I'm someone that's quite avoidant and all of that. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to kill the vibe, so I don't say things that I'm not okay with. But then it's not like I'm like, I let go of those things. I hold on to resentment. And then eventually, when like I confess how I'm feeling, I think I'm already holding on to so much resentment. I wish I would have said something earlier. And it's like Nena and I talk about communication very often because we work together, and somehow like I think I was not able to communicate with my partner about what I want, my ex-partner about what I wanted. So that's where it all went wrong, and I think eventually we just wanted different things, and I had not said something for so long that he didn't know I wanted different things. And then when it all came out, it just sounded like no, I don't even want this rug to be here. Like, and then it just spiraled more and more. And then so I should have said something earlier. And I think other than that, nothing really I would have done differently. Biggest regret is that I kind of stopped trying. Like, I kind of stopped trying with my own appearance. I kind of stopped trying with like a bunch of things. So it's like, but everyone does that when they get comfortable, and being a wife without the ring is quite a hectic place to be in.
I was just thinking, I wonder if resentment is something that's learnt generationally by women, because I have not met one woman who's not resentful. Like,
Yeah.
whether it's aunts or grandmothers or friends, every woman is resentful, and I don't see the same in the opposite
I
gender.
really don't. I feel like all the women's stories, and I've been reading a lot of them, and I'm not trying to pick books on women's issues, like even crime thrillers. The way the relationship with the husband is portrayed, it's like, oh, I'm doing this in spite of my husband. Or like one of the books is this girl solving a mystery, and she has a newborn child, and she's like, oh, my husband won't do this, so I have to first tend to the baby and then be a detective and all of that. And I feel like all of women's stories, whether happiness or sadness, comes the sadness comes from men and happiness comes in spite of men.
Because you're not taught how to communicate and just like put your point across without that feeling like, oh, this is the end of everything.
It's also like I feel like women's value is tethered to the man they're with. Like generationally, it's like, oh, she's in a her husband makes so much money, her husband treats her I feel like it's also like women position themselves to kind of like be like, oh, my man is amazing or something, and then it all like, no one's honest about their vibe. So I think that's why a lot of resentment comes in, because you want to position yourself as like, oh, everything is great but everything is not normal. How do you feel?
We took a little break and we are back. Those were some great questions, so thank you. Want to ask you about the podcast? Is there something that you feel like people have misunderstood, and is there something that you didn't know would come out of Moss that seems really amazing with an audience?
Interesting. So I've always been like a comedy first podcaster. So like, or like a content creator in general. I feel like I say things only for musty and I don't really get too deep. And I think eventually I kind of am able to separate like the character from the person on the podcast. And I didn't think I had a lot to say as a person. I had a lot to say as the character that I've built. But that's been an interesting observation for me. But I'm also a firm believer of just because you have an audience doesn't mean you're smart, and I think we fall in that category. So I don't like giving advice.
Fair.
Yeah.
I have to give little advice because it's a
Big
generational
sister.
curse. Everyone
Yeah.
in my family gives unsolicited advice.
Nena also, she's such an older sister, such a first daughter of the house vibe and her advice is actually very good. It's just that sometimes like when I got my chest infection, she was like, you need to stop vaping. And I was like, I know, but it's a viral bug and it's nothing to do with vaping, but sound advice.
Fair.
Yeah.
The one downside which I don't know how to feel and I'd ask you is, because there aren't that many like female podcasts or like really entertainment for women, we sometimes become advocates, or we are supposed to become advocates. The audience wants us to become like advocates for women's rights, feminism, many
Honey
different
hangs the
things.
head.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, but we never said we were a feminist podcast.
We are a feminist podcast.
But we never said it. And also, this started as a relationships and comedy podcast. Of course, over time, like we talked about a lot of things, and I really enjoy that we talk about many different things,
Yeah.
and people feel as seen and heard as we do when we talk to an audience. But it feels a bit like heavy sometimes to advocate for things, because I'm like, but I don't have the qualification.
So the way I see it is that no one expects women to do masti.
Yeah.
Like you have to add value if you're sitting in front of a podcast mic and kind of like doing all of this. But that's why we have like a very specific niche that we cater to you guys. And I don't think we are meant to be really like, it always happens when our reels go viral that everyone's like, oh, fatherless behavior, oh, these women, they're gonna die alone, and it's like, but our audience gets that we're doing musty sometimes and we're getting real sometimes. The podcast essentially is meant to be like a fun hang with friends.
Yeah.
and now we have 70,000 friends.
Amazing.
Yeah, and sometimes your friend says something dumb, but doesn't mean your friend is dumb. Like, you
Yeah.
know, everyone's allowed to be imperfect. Not me. I'm perfect, but
Everyone's allowed to be imperfect.
yeah, everyone's allowed to be imperfect. And I think that's what we are doing, right? Like, we acknowledge that some of our takes are problematic. We acknowledge that we have, like, I at least have major body dysmorphia. So when I'm talking about, oh, I want to change this, I want to change that, I'm not talking about it from like a, oh, everyone should want to change this. So I'm not thinking about how it can affect other people, which now that I know that we have an audience that it is affecting, I'm trying to reel it back in. But essentially, it's supposed to be like a fun hang where I can speak about my insecurities and you can speak about like your insecurities, and you guys in the comments, if you all want to talk about your insecurities, who's gonna stop you?
Yeah. The one good thing that I really enjoy and the feedback that we often get is like, no one can put their finger on why this relationship or these two people work, but they work, and it's always like a, are you a Naina or are you a Sakshi?
Yeah.
Or I'm stuck being a Naina but I want to be a Sakshi. Or I'm a Sakshi but sometimes I need to tone down for
Yeah.
society.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. I'm like, because that's the entire spectrum. And the fact that you guys sitting behind like a screen still feel like we are simulating some kind of hangout, which feels awesome.
Yeah. Do you want to give them a, like, if you do this, you're a Naina? Like,
Ooh.
would you guys be interested in that? We'll find out after, but we'll just do it.
Yeah.
Y'all want to leave the episode, y'all leave. You'll see what if you get an episode next week.
What, give now? I'm not good on my feet.
Okay. Should we start small or should we start like,
Start small and go big.
okay. If you are a Crocs girly, you are 100% Naina.
And if you're a Birkenstock girly, you're
That's
100%.
a really dirty shoe. You don't want to touch it like that.
You're 100% Sakshi.
If you're a Lululemon girly, you're 100% Naina.
If you're a Aloe Yoga and Spotlighting Indian athleisure brands girly, you are Sakshi.
No, you also Kawa.
You know, the thing is, nothing fits my lower body super well, so I advocate for great sports bras from Indian athletic
Yeah,
companies.
like Yama Yoga.
Yeah. Oh my god, Yama Yoga is
Yeah.
too good. Yeah.
If you love free things, you are 100% Naina.
Fuck off. I don't love free
Shut
things.
up. Like you like to try it out.
No, the sustainability.
Okay, if
In
you're
me-
sustainable, you are Naina.
If you like free things, you're a Naina. And if you like your dignity and you want to pay full
No.
price, you're a Sakshi.
No, fuck off.
It's the
Cancel
truth.
that.
It's the fucking truth. Keep that in.
Ooh, if you like experimenting with makeup, you are Naina.
If you have naturally glowy good skin,
This
and
is
you like
not
to
a dick sucking competition. This
if
is
you like to suck dick,
no me.
No.
I can't believe I'm a Naina. If you're an on-the-go adaptable person who can adjust like pani in any situation, you're a Naina.
what do I say?
No, nothing. You said you're not
What's
quick
a
on your
Sakshi?
feet. If you're an uptight bitch, you're a Sakshi.
You're also a Naina, by the way. Just
I'm a
want you to
Naina.
know.
I aspire to be Naina. Me and my cousins send Naina's outfits to each other and we're like, we wish we could pull that off. And then she's like, it only suits her. They're amazing outfits, but no one else can pull them
Thank
off.
you, Sakshi. You
Yeah.
are the ultimate dick sucker in this relationship.
You know me. You think this chest infection just happens?
I believe we've reached a point of no edit. We cannot make an edit. This episode is now uploaded to the payment gateway part of our YouTube channel.
I haven't even given my techniques. Why is this the part?
We're thinking of doing a Freaky Fridays, like Friday uploads, where you can ask us freaky questions.
Or sexy Saturdays.
Or
sexy
sultry
Sundays. Or
Moany Mondays.
Moony Thirsty Tuesdays. Wet
Wednesdays,
Wednesday.
and then
Titillating.
Thursdays. The whole week, we can give you feedback on your bedroom techniques.
Yeah.
I don't know, every time I start talking about sex actively, I start censoring myself. Your bedroom techniques.
And I'm like, I'm go hard or go home. I'm going home. That's all I can say.
Just follow this channel before we just stop producing.
Please, no, why?
Follow the channel, subscribe.
If you're sex positive, you're Sakshi.
If you're a prude, you're a Naina.
Only on camera.
Okay, follow, subscribe.
Rate us on Spotify. And why don't you have an amazing day while you're at it? Go
That's
tell your
true.
mom you love her.